learned everything new, different, and true, I'll be all right. I'm going to rise again. So bring it on.
Amen.
Bring it on. Everything new. Right? Think about that. Are you ready for your next thing to do?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
Whatever that is. Are you ready to be happy?
Yes.
Are you ready to be successful?
Yep.
Yes.
Are you ready to be healthy?
Yep.
Yes.
Are you ready to be peaceful?
Yep.
Yes.
I mean, really,
Yes.
now's the time. Why are we waiting? If we are. So last month we explored the idea of paradox, which was fascinating. And this month in the Centers for Spiritual Living, we're looking at the mundane, the profane, and the sacred. Oh, which are all part of this thing called life. And in the Science of Mind magazine this month, there's a really good explanation of that I'm going to share with you from Reverend Carol Carnes. We experience the mundane as we go through our day. Cooking, cleaning, working, riding the bus, driving during rush hour. These acts lack excitement or inspiration probably, which makes them mundane. Much of what we experience every day falls into this category. We also experience the profane, although we might not realize it. The actual meaning of this word is outside of the temple. Outside of the temple, or something far from the religious. We might be considered profane when we condemn others or refuse to forgive. These are outside of the temple, in that they are not the spiritual way to navigate life. Take a breath with that. They are profane because they arise not from inspiration, but from desperation and angst. We've all been there. Desperate to make sense of the world. What is sacred? Well, that's another matter, isn't it? In our Science of Mind spirituality, we consider that either everything is sacred or nothing is. Sacred means made by God, or that which is from the divine. And seeing the sacred in the mundane can be challenging, right? Yeah. She says, I believe we can start with ourselves. Our very being is sacred. We are the emanation of an infinite love intelligence pouring itself through us into expression. I'm going to say that again. I want you to hear this. This is a test after service. You are the emanation of an infinite love intelligence, I like that description, pouring itself through you into expression. Each of you, individualized. Wow. That's a gold nugget. Don't forget our gold nugget. It is said that what we do, the words we speak, and even our thoughts are like sacraments or sacred acts. She says when we speak ill of ourselves or others, we utter profanities. Makes me really want to pay attention to what I say to myself. Human life is sacred first. Mundane second, depending on how we choose to live. Life is profane only to the degree that we stray from our spiritual roots, our inner temple. Isn't that powerful? That's in the Science of Mind this month. I mean, what if we realize that all three of those are actually just aspects of the one, and that's the way we move in and out of life? So I have a slide for you. Ernest Holmstrom, founder of Science of Mind, says the spirit is both an overdwelling and an indwelling presence. We are immersed in it, and it flows through us as our very life. And sometimes we have to work with that over and over and over again. come from a background of God is out there up in the sky judging you, but rather an overreaching presence, that love intelligence. I really like that image for me. So my talk today is sacred and soulful. And we're going to look at the sacred as connection, mindset, and action. And think about this. You know, the sacred can not only be found when we're meditating and closing our eyes or when we're in prayer, but we can also be found on standing in line at the grocery store. You can be sacred. And often the sacred is seen as something separate from our mundane life. But what if we chose to have everything feel expanded, loving? What if, instead of being seen as something reserved for a certain place or time, but that sacred could simply be understood as a connection to all that is, because it's our very self? One of my favorite metaphysical writers and teachers that I've studied with for many years is Raymond Charles Barker. This is pretty interesting. As you cease merely believing that your mind is a spiritual function and use it as though it were, it will then produce the results of the Spirit. Did you get that?
No, say it again.
I'm going to say it again. As you cease merely believing your mind is a spiritual function and use it as though it were. So instead of just believing, and you have to use it, you have to work it, you have to recognize it. As long as you believe that your mind is spiritual only if you're giving a treatment, having a meditation, saying prayer, or reading a scripture, and that the rest of the time your mind is not spiritual, you have a double consciousness, he says. And you'll have a double result in your world. Whoa. That's another good gold nugget, I think. That really made me think when I read that, and I keep reading it over and over. Because we hear that term, I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. So are we? I don't think there's not a day in my life that doesn't go by that I don't take time to unify myself in consciousness and in my heart with that infinite loving presence. But I had to learn how to do that, and it's a daily practice. That connection, for me, is an integral part of my life. How about you? I taught a class recently called The Journey of the Soul. Many of you took. And in many of the classes in the Science of Mind, we open with a check-in at the beginning of the class. So we go around and everybody checks in. How you feeling this week? Did you do the homework? What went well? What didn't go well? What do you need support with? And we just do a check-in. Even at our board meetings, we do a check-in. It's really important to hear each other. It gives us a sense of belonging. But in this particular course, Patrick Harbula, the writer of the course, suggested that we go around once, speaking from the first person, how things are going, but the second time going around, we speak from our soul self. We speak from that place of us that is pure love, unconditional, non-judgmental. And so when we went around the second time, it was profound for everyone of how we spoke and how we heard and how we moved into that place of unconditional pure love from our soul. So for example, I could say in my first person, Suzanne, my check-in is I didn't really stay on track perfectly for the 40-day program, I admit. And I was frustrated with myself. I felt disappointed. And last week was a big challenge for me in many ways. And I just feel like I didn't set a very good example. That's my check-in. So then I take a breath as we go around the next time, and I drop into my soul self, whatever that means to me. And I speak from that place. Suzanne had some struggles this week and distractions. but she actually did really good in remembering to come back to truth. Suzanne was able to stay relaxed and forgive herself. Suzanne is wise, and she knows how to continue this soul journey and be present. Suzanne loves her life, and she's doing just fine. Can you hear the difference and feel the difference? Yeah. So my invitation to you is we always have an opportunity to practice in situations where we have to maybe have a difficult conversation or face a limiting belief, to take a breath, go within, ask our soul self to help us be present with love. That's all. And there's a simple technique we learned that's called stop. And I gave everybody a card. So stop is practicing the presence in your daily life. Stop whatever you're doing. T, take a deep breath. Do it with me. O, observe yourself as soul, a point of radiant light, and breathe from that perspective. And P, proceed into your day and smile. It's so simple, but so powerful. So we are invited into the sacred aspects of our lives and allow it to become the very essence of who we are when we just pause. And it becomes a wise way, I believe, of seeing ourselves and others and how we move about in the world. And this understanding invites us to question ourselves and say, what has to shift in my awareness to view all things as sacred? And each of us will answer that differently. It might be letting go of an old attachment or an old belief. So if we look at the sacred first as a connection, and again, that connection can not only be felt during our contemplative times, our quiet times, but we can feel that connection taking a walk in nature, looking at the leaves changing, riding a horse, dancing to your favorite music, engaging in meaningful conversation. All of these can be a conduit for transformative connections with others and with ourselves. And it's in this sacredness of these simple moments that lift us out of the mundane and open us to something a little more interesting. And I think gratitude and praise are a great way to start that connection, right? The next slide is Eckhart Tolle. To do everything in a sacred manner means to do everything fully in the state of presence. And again, when we stop and do the practice, we're tapping into the presence. So I ask you, how would viewing everything as sacred and living from your soul self influence your interaction with yourself? Oh. How would it influence your interactions with others in the world around you? It would change, wouldn't it? Yeah. So Ernest Holmes, the next slide, says, we are compelled to think of spirit either as apart from us or within us. If apart from us, there's no way to find it. If within us, there is no escaping the divine fact. Unfoldment and not search is what we need. So the more that we unfold our understanding of our sacred center of self, the more it's going to open us up to those times where we can move and think and feel from our soul, our sacredness. So the sacred can also be used as a mindset. You know, our brain is, the very nature of our brain is to label and categorize, and it can take quite a bit of unlearning and intention to step into a new idea. That's why I like the phrase, what if? What if I didn't have to be so angry at this? What if I wasn't confused? Emma Curtis Hopkins has that great thing. I don't believe in confusion. I believe in clarity. I don't believe in illness. I believe in health. I don't believe in, and it goes back and forth. So we can use our mind to develop a mindset or a worldview that looks beyond the surface and appearance of things and opens us to that expansive viewing of the world. It opens us to possibility thinking. So I believe that this philosophy is not about positive thinking. It's about possibility thinking. I mean, it is about positive thinking, but it's more than that, I should say. Possibility thinking. Stop. Stop what you're doing. Take a deep breath with me. Observe yourself as soul. Imagine you're a radiant point of light, and just breathe for a moment from that perspective. And proceed into your day and smile. And notice how that shifts for you, how it shifts your mindset. Just to notice. And notice if you struggle with it, or notice if you don't want to do it. Just notice. So the sacred can also be used as action. And the great writer and mystic, Andrew Harvey, coined the term sacred activism. That seems like a paradox, doesn't it? But sacred activism is coming together with spirituality and activism that comes from the heart. It's activism that is compassionate, kind, and positive. It's not about being against something. It's about being for something. Hear that? And that is perfectly embodied by the quote from Mother Teresa when she was asked why she wouldn't attend an anti-war rally. She said, when you have a pro-peace rally, I'll be there. So sacred activism is a way to channel our energy to make a difference in the world that creates solutions and doesn't create more problems. I don't know about you, but I don't think we need more problems. Right? The late Wayne Dyer, I don't know if you remember, he wrote a book a long time ago called There's a Spiritual Solution to Every Problem. It was a great book. So sacred activism is having passion for justice. That's why I'm excited about this 4 Pivots book that we're going to do. And not just talking to our friends about how bad things are, which maybe they are, but taking some action, doing something. When we do that, we not only help the cause, but we feel a rebirth in our own souls. We can donate money, we can donate our time to something we truly believe in or feel strife about in the world. And what gives me hope right now is that there are many people waking up and wanting to make a difference. We're all on this ship together, remember? Right? And if the ship goes down, we're all going down. Aha! Yet, if we do our part and we lift it up, we're all going to be lifted. Yay! Remember David Hawkins, I talked about the maps of consciousness. Our vibration has an effect on groups of people. So when you go into the grocery store with an open heart and a smile, you're going to affect people that are picking apples. They won't know it, but you're sending it out. It's powerful. The cultural anthropologist Margaret Mead said, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, she says, it is the only thing that ever has. Ah. So would you like to be part of that solution?
Yes.
Yeah, then we need to hone in our complaining and start connecting to that higher power first, and then connecting with each other in a transformative, heartfelt way. The world needs your consciousness. It really does. The world needs your compassionate heart. Are you willing?
Yes.
Next slide. The great Thich Nhat Hanh, who was a Buddhist, Vietnamese Buddhist monk, each thought, each action in the sunlight of awareness becomes sacred. Again, so simple. To notice and pay attention when we're moving into a place of reaction and or if we can soften and pause. It's about being mindful. You know, mindfulness is a big buzzword, but that's all it is. So what does sacred activism mean to you? And how can it be demonstrated in your life? Or how is it? What can you do? So I invite us this month to stay connected to this idea of the sacred in whatever way you do. To shift your mindset to possibilities and to take a loving action. Let us set an intention together to observe our world, our experiences, our interactions, even ourselves, through the eyes of our soul. And when you do, notice how it shifts in your mind and how it feels in your body. Everything new, I'm ready for my next thing to do. Something new, different, and true. How about you? How about you? Stop. Let's practice the presence. Take a breath with me. Stop what you're doing. Observe yourself as soul, as a point of radiant light, and breathe from that perspective. Then proceed into your day and smile. That's a gift that keeps on giving. So for our prayer today, we're going to do a moving prayer. I invite you to, if you're able, to stand with me. We're going to open our arms wide. We're going to do an affirmative prayer. So you're going to have to spread out. You got to have your arms open wide. Don't knock your neighbor over. And I know Elizabeth has a shoulder injury, so you can do this just minimally like this, you know, however you want to do it. So, this is called Alphabet Affirmative Prayer. We've done it before. It's a little thing I made up, and it's a great way to plant the seeds of what it is, the truth of who you are. I'm going to go through the alphabet, A through Z. You repeat after me, and then you say, I am, I am. And even if you don't believe it, you say it anyway. All right? I want to see everybody's mouths moving. So the action is you're going to push the walls away. Now, this is also in yoga called a heart breath. So the action is tense, relax. Tense, relax. Okay, so that is an action we're going to do for a couple minutes, and it pumps not only your physical heart, but your energetic heart. So that's part of it. So we're going to say the words, and then we come to the heart and say, I am, I am. So you're going to repeat after me. I'm going to start with A. I'm going to go through the alphabet. I make it up as I go along. So listen first. Alive, awake, and aware.
Alive, awake, and aware. I am, I am.
Beautiful, bountiful, and blessed.
Beautiful, bountiful, and blessed. I am, I am.
Huge, caring, and courageous.
Huge, caring, and courageous. I am, I am.
Divine, devoted, and dear.
Divine, devoted, and dear. I am, I am.
Efficient, energetic.
Efficient, energetic. I am, I am.
Fun, fabulous, fantastic.
Fun, fabulous, fantastic. I am, I am.
Good, gorgeous, and great.
Good, gorgeous, and great.
intuitive.
Insightful, intuitive.
I am.
Joyous and jubilant.
Joyous and jubilant.
Kind and knowing.
Kind and knowing.
Lovable, loyal, and likable. Mighty and magnificent.
I am.
Nice and non-judgmental and necessary.
Necessary. I am.
Open, opulent, and optimistic.
Open, opulent, optimistic. I am.
Peaceful, practical, and poised.
Peaceful, practical, and poised. I am.
Quiet, quintessential.
Quiet, quintessential. I am.
Radiant and reliable. Sacred, serene, and sure.
Sacred, serene, and sure.
Truthful, thankful, and thoughtful.
Truthful, thankful, thoughtful. I am.
United and unified.
United and unified. I am.
Vivacious and victorious.
Vivacious and victorious. I am.
Wise and wealthy and whole.
Wise and wealthy and whole. I am.
Extra special.
Extra special. I am.
Youthful and young.
Youthful and young.
Zesty and zealous.
Zesty and zealous. I am.
Close your eyes. I am.
I am.
We breathe. I am. We breathe. I am. And we feel that vibration, that energy, that truth that is moving through every cell, fiber, muscle, tissue, bone of your being. That is the truth of who you are. You are alive, awake, and aware in spirit. You are an emanation of this divine love intelligence, using this expression as you in a perfect way. Oh, how good it is to know this truth. And so it is.
And so it is.